5 years ago. And if you're on Facebook, you can message somebody. And so I messaged him, and he was very gracious to reply back. The reason I messaged him on Facebook, because that night I saw him on Fox News. I saw him doing something on Fox News. So I messaged him, and I just asked him, do you remember anything about this story? He said, absolutely, I remember everything about it, et cetera, et cetera. So Cal has been on Fox News. He's in all newspapers across America, and he's got a very simple, pragmatic approach to his life. You can tell he's a believer, but there's nothing more than refreshing than to open a liberal newspaper and see some of Cal's refreshing ideology, which is really biblical, is really your ideology, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
So it's so wonderful and refreshing to see that. I'll go back to the beginning, but right now I serve as our chairman of the board for the Lake Houston Area Chamber of Commerce. So we have 1,300 business members in the northeast sector of Houston. So we cover up 59 and over through Kingwood and all that kind of area right there off Lake Houston. And so yesterday I asked Cal to come speak at our monthly luncheon. Our monthly luncheon was, our topic that month, yesterday, was the focus on federal government, and who better to speak about all the problems in Washington than a pundit, you know, like Cal. So he was gracious to come in and speak to us and mesmerized.
Find anybody better to talk on.
I don't know about that.
And so he spoke, which was great, and we got great reviews about him, and the Q&A was great too. We had some really good Q&A, and he shared a little bit about what this question she had asked. And at the end, I as chairman of the board, I get to kind of summarize the event, and so I shared my story with the 100 people that were in attendance. Wow. And I said, I've got to tell you how I know Cal Thomas from 1975. Could have heard a pin drop. And
he's better than me by far.
You could have, and the tears were flowing out in the audience afterwards, and then which was really just a ploy to help you sell more books.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Great,
nice.
Not really. And so in appreciation for me and to Cal, I helped proclaim yesterday, which was August 27th, 2019, in the illustrious city of Humble, Texas. They proclaimed yesterday Cal Thomas Day.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, Humble and my name don't usually go together. On this occasion.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
So yesterday was Cal Thomas Day, and he has the proclamation on him, but he's
still receiving presents.
Yeah, but he's too humble to bring it
well,
in.
Well, if you can fake humility in Washington, you can fake it anywhere. So,
so I'll just brag a little bit.
That's very nice. I
on
appreciate
Cal.
it.
Thank you so much, Cal, for everything that you've done. So I was the youngest pipsqueak in the group. The way that I understand the story, and you can chime in, Mom, they found me on the streets of Vietnam when I was about 9 months old, just sitting there without a mom and a dad on the side of the street. And somehow somebody from the orphanage was walking by on the street and said, this kind of looks odd that this little baby is sitting on the street and there's no mom and dad. So they started asking around, and they said, we can find the mom. We can find her for you if you want us to. They said, yeah. So they found my mom and said, can you take care of him? She said, no. Would you like for us to take care of him? Yes. And right then and there, she signed me over to live in the Qumran Christian orphanage. So not even a year old. Is that right? Does that sound about leaving any details out? Yeah. So at about 1 year old, I started to live in the orphanage. I was born in 1972, so it's about 1973, and then of course spring of 1975 comes and it's time to leave. And you saw a picture of all of us with our little bag, and everybody that I've talked to in the group has told me that I was the youngest one. I was the youngest one. And so as we escape and we make it, all the story that you just heard, it's all putting the pieces back together, make it back to the United States, and we make it to Touch Ranch. And then Cal comes in the picture, he comes out, does the story, and that night it airs, it airs on KPRC Channel 2. And Betty and Herb Schrade and Suzanne Schrade, who were members of Talbot Baptist Church at the time, they're watching Channel 2 News. and they see the story, correct? And they see the story.
This is where you got the story a little bit different.
Okay.
My husband was not, at first, not in favor of adoption, but he finally caved in because my daughter kept saying, more than anything, I want a brother or sister. So, that morning, I prayed by myself when I saw the news, that if he wanted us to have one of those, that he would work through my husband, who was at work. And my husband came home back to him and said, guess what? I'm totally your names. So I knew we could get one.
You were thrilled with your husband that day. Yes, it was an absolute thrill.
And so the trajectory of my little life changed dramatically. So they applied for the adoption. They passed all the tests and the process of being adopted. And
Were you in Dallas by that time?
I was in Dallas. I was in Dallas, and they came and picked me up, and I cried and cried and cried, and made it back to Houston eventually. And my mom says that about, I guess, a week later, the Buckners called and said, "How's everything going?" And they said, my mom said, he's doing better, he's doing very good, but he keeps saying this one Vietnamese word, no,
No.
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 And that's just all he says. He just says this one word, no, no.
That was-
What does that mean?
Good enough.
And they said that means water.
Now, which are the ones that are your mom's specialty?
This one right there.
This way?
And then the second word you will learn in Vietnamese will be nam.
Okay.
This one?
And then you say nhut bam. And when you say nhut bam, you will be able to addict any United States citizen almost instantaneously
Good.
by putting some of the nhut bam
Excuse
on
me.
whatever they're eating.
Nice.
Age before beauty.
That definitely makes
It
sense.
comes from Arabia, it doesn't come from Asia.
That's awesome.
You have both.
Oh,
That is awesome. So,
I know him.
at the age of 3, Mr. Neighbors, I just kind of grew up a little, I figured, white kid that went to Talwood Baptist Church. I tell people I had a drug problem because they drugged me to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesdays. And then, you know, Lordy, if we had a revival, I was there that week too, right? And so I became a believer in 4th grade. So Betty, my mom, would make me have a quiet time before I went to school every morning.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Drove me nuts. But we would read some scripture and then pray, and then I would walk to school. Drove me nuts. But in 4th grade, in the spring of 4th grade, it all hit, and it all made sense to me. And no, I went to Ashford Elementary, which is right off of Derry Ashford, and then I started out at Paul Revere, and which was a huge school, and I was only about 2 feet tall, and I didn't do very good physically there. I kind of got beat up a little bit, picked on, and stuff like that. So they moved me to Memorial Junior High, which is across the street from Talwood Baptist Church, and I didn't get picked on as much there. And joined the band, and I became a drummer, and had an illustrious drumming career, and went to Stratford High School. Was on the newspaper team. I told Cal my newspaper stories back then, and then went to Texas Tech University. So got a degree in public relations, a minor in marketing. Got married, had 2 kids, lived in Lubbock for a long time. Started my career out there. Had an opportunity to move back to Houston. My wife at the time never really forgave me for that, and unfortunately we never made it. So we got a divorce in 2007, and then I met Casey in 2009, who was a Baylor grad, and we got married in 2010, and remarried in 2010, and then had Emma in 2013. So I have 2 kids in college, and I have a 1st grader.
Oh, wow.
That's a spread.
Yes.
Absolutely. So back in my last year of high school and 1st year of college, I got involved in sports television. and this big TV truck would show up to our basketball games at Texas Tech, and I was just totally enthralled with how that whole system was set up, and basically barged my way onto the production scene, and they finally hired me, and the rest is history. So now I own a media company, and we have these big TV trucks, and we go out and televise games for ESPN and Fox, and we also have a TV studio that Cal's very familiar with. You come in, and if you watch an interview on CNN or Fox News, that they're sometimes sitting in a studio, and so we have a studio just like that, and we just recently picked up Fox News and CNN as a client, so we're excited about that. So we started the business in 2005, and we're still in business, which is good. So we're doing good, and I live out in Humble, Kingwood in Humble, Texas, and my sister lives in San Antonio, and she's married to Robin, who's a music minister out there.
At what
And-
church?
Shearer Hills.
Shearer
Oh, yeah.
Hills.
Okay.
Okay.
And my daughter goes to Castleville.
Okay, he used to be on staff there.
Oh,
really?
He was there first.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's where Jack Taylor was.
As well, yeah.
Oh, Castle
It
Hills.
has really gone down.
And so,
Well, this new pastor's perking it back up.
Yeah, that's her daughter is there. Go ahead, sorry.
no, that's it. Unless you have any questions for me, that's in a nutshell, kind of
Cross-sectioning.
what we're doing.
Sam, did you ever find how to contact your mother?
So so let me update you on the group real quick, because that'll kind of answer your question. The group tries to get together every year, but it's really kind of turned into where every 5 years everybody tries to get back. So if y'all remember the first reunion at West Memorial Baptist Church,
Yes.
Cal, I think you covered it too,
Okay.
because my dad has pictures of the TV set of the story that he did.
Wow.
And there's pictures of me, and you saw the picture of me kissing my mom at the first reunion, right? And so,
I can't remember if it was the first or second reunion there,
Yeah.
but my parents were living up in Livingston on the lake. And for whatever reason, somebody had a whole freezer full of fish that they were gonna donate to this reunion.
I bet you it was catfish.
And it was in their freezer, and there was a power outage.
Oh.
And it all got spoiled. So I called my father, who he was not an expert fisherman by any means, but he and my mother went to the lake and started fishing.
Oh, my goodness.
And they were reeling them in as fast as they could take them off their hook.
Good.
And nobody around them was catching any fish.
There
What
you
does
go.
that remind you of?
To me, I read the
Cast
story.
on the
about
other
that.
side of the boat, yeah.
So they were able to provide enough
That's awesome.
fish for the
That's
reunion.
amazing.
Good.
Whichever
The
one it
miracles
was.
keep happening.
Great
Yeah.
story. Wow.
So at the